Okay. Hello there. We are Zachary Schwartz and Sweta Gupta, and for our project, we decided to choose citrus. There are many different kinds of citrus which grow in Florida, but in particular, we chose the Valencia oranges. Next slide, please. So, Valencia oranges are a key part of Florida's orange crop, and in particular, well, in general, they are an important part of the agricultural sector as a whole. They're mostly grown in either Florida or California. However, it is worth noting that while California's fruits are more sold to be eaten, Florida's oranges are instead sold to be juiced, with over 90% of the crop being juiced each year. The market is a surprisingly old one, with commercial production having started in the 1800s, and today it is very profitable, with over $15 billion a year. In fact, oranges are actually culturally relevant to Florida in particular, being the state fruit. As you can see also in the lower right corner, California focuses on non-Valencia oranges. Oh, wait, no, that's just Florida. Never mind. Moving on, let's talk about the main pest. In this case, we'll be talking about the disease caused by sea lice. The disease that it causes is HLB, which is greening disease. This causes the fruit to become bitter green and largely inedible and unmarketable, forcing farmers to just toss it at a loss. This costs farmers about 1 billion a year, and it causes fruits to not only become unproductive within a few years, it also makes their lifespan shrivel up. Significant quantities of the significant quantities of Florida acreage have been affected, mostly because of the abundance of this insect right here, Asian citrus psyllid. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't see the little thingy. Asian citrus psyllid, or ACP, is a small flying insect that feeds on citrus plants such as oranges and lemons. And like similar species, it does so by inserting needle-like mouth parts into it and sucking out juices. It also is a vector for greening disease. Another less important but still relevant pests include citrus rust mite. They're small parasitic arthropods that dwell on citrus leaves. They have very small, thin, wedge-shaped bodies and feed on fruit by piercing. These are notable because they have a very visible set of consequences. As you can see here, they're very small and they cause sunspots where they actually don't feed because of the sun exposure. Citrus rust mites can cause either bronzing or shark skin, depending on the season. This will cause either visible, and it will cause either very smooth and brown skin or rough and light skin, depending on which one it's causing. Um, oh, shoot. Rust mites significantly raise the chances of fruit drop, causing fruit to become completely useless, and it also tends to lower the quality and size of the fruit. Not to mention, it looks kind of iffy, so having citrus mites on your fruit is probably going to cause you to have a bad day, because I don't think anybody's going to want to buy that, even if it's perfectly fine. You can monitor citrus rust mites by checking the fruit for scarred rind tissue. Close observation is needed in the event that you see infested fruit. And if it was a problem a previous year, recurrence can be a very big issue. They can be pretty persistent. Threshold levels tend to depend on not only how often they've been a problem, but also the current environmental conditions. If the mite numbers quickly increase, scarring appears, or in general, like if there's a very serious infestation. Generally speaking, you'll need the application of some sort of pesticide. Meanwhile, and there are situations where the infestation will instead be very localized in one area. In that case, spot treatment may be sufficient to keep it in check. There's many methods that can work to help solve this. You can easily sample it using sticky cards, sweep net sampling, and simple visual identification. Some of these are better in some conditions, others are better than others. In particular, sweep nets. Here, I'll start with the sticky card sampling. That's kind of like having a thing a fly trap, um, having like a fly trap with the sticky tape. You basically just hang it up, and then some amount will stick to it, and then you'll be able to get a clear view of them. Sweep net sampling, on the other hand, is you basically take a section of the tree, put it into a thickly netted net, and then you shake it a few times and you see what comes out. Repeat this for all sections of the tree, and you have a good chance of finding whatever is responsible, assuming there is something causing it. And of course, I assume that visual identification is pretty self-explanatory. And of course, there is flushes. Flushes are a good, well, learning to recognize and how to understand flushes is a very good way to get ahead of the curve. It lets you quantify well, being able to quantify the events that are behind flush dynamics is very important because there are many insect vectors of diseases, not to mention insect pests in their own right, that feed and reproduce based on the presence and timing of flushes. New shoots are a very common entry point for many vector-borne pathogens, so successfully scouting flushes helps one make well-informed decisions about how to go about integrated pest management solutions. Understanding the distribution of young shoots in different parts of the plant across different times of the season is very good for understanding also not just how to sample flushes, but also when. For example, citrus canker is caused by Xanthomona citri, subspecies citri, and that pest's incidence and severity is significantly worsened by the damage that is caused by the citrus leaf miner, which is, of course, Phyllos. I'm sorry, that is a very tricky. P. citrella. Similarly, the greening disease, or HLB, is associated with sea lice, which is in turn generally caused by the presence of ACP, and along with other psyllids. As the ebb and flow of these species tends to mirror the presence of flush dynamics, well, the phenomena involved in flush dynamics, you can monitor these plants to see when flush abundance really peaks, and then you can time either insecticide usage or the release of natural predators in accordance with this. And with 6 minutes left on the clock, on to Sweta.
Management tactics, biological and chemical control. For control of Asian citrus psyllid that causes citrus greening, releases of the wasp, and all these parasitics have basically have accomplished their rates as high as 70%, but it still is not sufficient to prevent the disease spread. And we also employ the chemical control and other methods, and the cultural control methods are also employed that also uses sanitation and has successfully used in doing the NEMS nematode-free planting stock, where these practices have been employed, and irrigation has been also used for these purposes.
Or
Then
mhm.
management tactics with weather forecasts, like now the climate change is becoming very evident, and these oranges have also suffered their impacts with the 4 degree centigrade, with the like the lowest temperatures recorded in February 4th, we which was one of the coldest days US drought monitor recorded, and it has affected the fruit counts, uh, and their measurements have shown by National Agricultural Statistics Services. At last, it's the pesticides that still rules. Instead, we have a lot of solutions, biological controls, cultural controls, but still we rely on pesticides. We can have better forecasting techniques that can help us reduce the impacts of the diseases. Some diseases can be trapped in early stages, that is very helpful, and the tracking of weather patterns also helps us to understand and yield the savings, which is economical and beneficial in the long run through integrated pest management. Thank you.
Okay, and that's just about everything we have. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.